If you've been watching F1 for a while, you'll know that F1 races can be won and more tragically lost in the pit lane. Countless times, we've seen teams gift away valuable points by making blunders and not maximizing the potential of a good and well-timed pit stop. But did you know that a race was once won in the pit lane? I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, yeah, obviously, teams can put their cars into the pits at the right moment and gain the upper hand on their rivals by making a better strategic call, coming out on better tires for the conditions, and winning the race or maximizing points. I mean, DDA, duh, we all know this. And to you, I say you weren't listening, because what I actually said was that a race was once won in the pit lane. Exactly. Confused? Let me explain. The 1998 season is a fascinating season in Formula One history. You know, I've actually made another video about this same season, a different race that actually happened after the one we're going to be talking about today. I'll link that up here for you guys to watch. It was my very first video on YouTube, so please be kind. Anyway, the 1998 season had two main protagonists, Mika Häkkinen in his McLaren and Michael Schumacher in La Ferrari. I truly believe that future DDA here, I can't let you hear what I'm saying there because it would ruin a future episode of mine. So, toodles! I truly believe that. Okay, so the incident that we're going to be talking about today. As I've said before on this channel, rain and the forecast of rain are such gold mines for the entertainment value of Formula One races. And the story is no different, because the 1998 British Grand Prix was to be a classic. The starting grid was as follows. You know what? It really doesn't matter who the starting grid was, because this story is basically about Mika Häkkinen and Michael Schumacher. So with that, let's keep going. Prior to the race, heavy rainfall affected the entire track. But as the formation lap came, parts of the track were still wet and other parts of the track were drying out quickly. So everyone started on intermediate tires. As the cars rolled off the line, Mika Häkkinen got a decent enough start, and to my 1998 fledgling Ferrari fan horror, he pulled away from Michael. Now, what you have to understand about Michael at this time was that Michael was known as, the Germans say, der Regenmeister. That's terrible German, but it means the Rainmaster. Michael was famous for his wet weather and, more importantly, his changing conditions driving. But as the conditions soured, Mika pulled away into the distance, in spite of errors, from almost the entire field. Mika just kept pulling away. As the race progressed, heavy rainfall came down on the Silverstone circuit, and drivers started making real mistakes. Mika, actually, with his sizable lead over Michael, eventually fell to one of these situations and made a mistake, went off track, came back on with his lead largely intact. But then the rain was so bad that the safety car came out to guide the cars through the track as the rain passed. Now, this is not something that happens very often. It might happen once a season, so it was a rare sight to see, but it was definitely called for. The appearance of the safety car changed everything, for the worse for Mika Häkkinen, as the lead that he had so carefully built up was now completely erased. Teams made different strategy calls, brought their drivers into the pits for fresh rubber, and Mika's entire lead was eaten up. All the drivers bunched up for the restart on lap 50. Lap 50 comes around, and Michael is really reeling in Mika. The red mist in his mirrors just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where Mika breaks. And on lap 52, he goes off track because he tried to take maggots a little bit too quickly, and ends up leaving bits and pieces of his McLaren in the grass and loses all aerodynamic efficiency. And Michael sails on by him to take the lead with very few laps left. And you'd think, job done. It's over, Mika. I have won, says Michael Schumacher. But no, things were just beginning to get crazy. Watching Michael pass Mika, you can hear some of the fans at the Silverstone track from McLaren supporters gasping. And back in Miami, in 1998, the screams from my living room could be heard because we were cheering on Michael. But as I said before, the drama isn't over. 2 laps before the end, the Ferrari team received a handwritten message from the stewards saying that Michael had passed a car under the safety car on lap 43 and that he was going to be issued a 10-second penalty. Unsure if the 10-second penalty meant a 10-second stop and go penalty, or, as you will remember what happened to Lewis Hamilton at the Austrian Grand Prix, 10 seconds added to his final race time. 2 very big and very different things for Michael Schumacher. One would be him going into the pits and serving 10 seconds in the crunch time of the race, and the other would be 10 seconds added to his finishing time, which was of no consequence because Michael was further than 10 seconds from Mika Häkkinen at the time. Unsure of what's going on, Ferrari, on the very last lap, as Michael is rounding the final corner, they bring him into the pits. But the curious thing about the old Silverstone layout is that the start-finish line is actually before any of the pit boxes. So as Michael enters the pits, he crosses the finish line and then gets to his pit box and serves his penalty. So who won the race? Because if you think about it, Michael didn't serve the penalty during the race. The race is over by the time he crosses the line, right? When the race finished, the call came for a clarification as to what that handwritten message actually meant from the stewards. And the stewards later clarified that it was actually a 10-second time penalty added to Michael's end of the race time. What's important here, and I have to get this right, so I'm going to read it so that you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about. The clarification came through that the stewards meant to add 10 seconds to his race time. However, teams need to be informed within 25 minutes of any time penalties applied to a driver. Here, the stewards waited 31 minutes. Then on top of that, added time penalties can only be issued in the last 12 laps of a Grand Prix, and seeing how the referenced incident occurred 17 laps from the end, they were supposed to give him a stop and go penalty. So in the end, the stewards screwed up and Michael was crowned the one and only victor of a race from within the pit lane, literally inside the pit lane. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. If you did enjoy it, please go down below and comment on what your favorite British Grand Prix moment is. And for my next video, your moment might be featured. You never know. Anyways, enough of me. My name is DDA, and this is DDA on F1, and I'll see you at the British Grand Prix. Or, well, after the you get it.